Today we will be covering lesson 37-1 on dot plots and box plots. The first way we're going to do this is we're going to do these by hand to start off with, and then towards the end of the lesson I'll actually show you how to do these on Desmos. On the previous slide you should have seen that paragraph right up here about professional wildlife, and you should also have seen this math tip on how to make a dot plot. Today we're going to be splitting this lesson into 3 sections, and the first section is going to cover questions 1 and 2. Questions 1 and 2. It says, a dot plot is an effective method for representing univariate one variable data when dealing with small data sets. A dot plot of the before data is shown below. Make dot plots of the during and after data sets. And they're referring to this table about the coyotes' movement. They had already done the before, and you can see it written up here. And what you're basically doing here is, for instance, if it says 3.9, we're going to find 3.9 on our number line, and we're going to draw a dot. And if any of the numbers repeat themselves, we stack the dots, like we make 2 dots. So like see right here where we have this double dot, the 2 dots, that means that one of these numbers was used twice. And I believe it was this number right here, 5.3, 5.3. So what you're going to do in this first part is you are going to do the during section. So you're going to do this column. And you're going to do the after column. And if you notice, you can see some faint lines on your paper that you'll be able to plot your points above here, and then plot your points above here for the during and the after section. After you do that, number 2 asks you to compare and contrast the center and the spreads of the 3 data sets. For this part of the lesson, I'm going to give you 7 minutes time to work with your table mates on questions 1 and 2. So plot your dots and then go back and answer with your compare and contrast. Go ahead and pause your video. As you can see, the answer to question number 1 has been provided for you. It might be a little hard to see it, but whenever you drew your dots for the during and the after, you should have never had any where they lied at the same point, because none of the values in each column repeated themselves. So you didn't have this double stack of your dot like you did in the before column. Okay? The other thing I want to note here is if you look at this data, notice that in the during, you have a big cluster of points here, and then it's very hard to tell, but I have a dot here and a dot way out here. In the after, they're all kind of clustered here together. So again, no big outlier, which means that it's separated from the rest of our data. We're going to get into that a little later in this lesson. So just kind of notice that all of these data points or data values are in the same area, whereas this one has 2 very extreme points. They're pretty far away from the rest of the data. Okay, let's take a look at number 2. Number 2, if you look at the before and after data sets, so the top data set and the bottom data set, you can kind of see that they're all clustered in the same little area. The during, however, it has a big cluster right around the same area, but it has these 2 points that kind of stand really out to the high end. So those people, these coyotes, left their home range. They went really far away from their home range. So they probably have a greater spread, or they do, because of the fact that their data is further apart. Whereas these, if you looked at the range, your range is like really, really close here. Again, your range is kind of close here. You got this one little outlier. I don't think that that's going to be too much of a problem a little bit later when we talk about outliers. On to your debriefing question.